What's your don't knock it till you try it life hack?
Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the Vancher channel. Also, please share your thoughts on this video in the comments. Let's get started.
Story 1. Mammalian diving reflex. Just splashing some water on your face while holding your breath triggers your nervous system to slow the heart rate and redirect blood to vital organs. It's some good shoot. Answer. In high school, I used to get very overwhelmed. I would often go to the girls' bathroom and run water from the tap over my head for a minute, and it would always calm me down. I was diagnosed with ADHD and auditory processing disorder 2 years ago, and realized doing this in high school was my way of managing the anxiety and overstimulation. I bet holding my breath like this underwater was a big part in what made me calm down as well, and probably why I love surfing so much. Story 2. Putting a damp paper towel in the freezer for a few minutes and then using it as a quick cool down on your face neck. Sounds weird, but it's a lifesaver on hot days. Answer. This sounds pretty obvious, but I am really embracing it lately. Drinking ice water or a cold drink. Imagine all the cold remedies you and others are talking about with ice packs and put it inside your body. It is crazy effective in cooling me down. I treat it like first aid whenever I or someone else is overheating. It seems like a duh thing, but I feel like I've been wasting my time putting cold stuff on my body when I could just be putting it inside my body. If you'd like to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee. Link is in the description. I'll show the most interesting messages in my videos. Story 3. If you're ever reheating any type of meat, pasta, rice, or pizza in the microwave, take a wet paper towel and put over the food and then microwave it. This life hack keeps your food from drying out. Story 4. Smile broadly for a minute every morning when you are alone, like in the shower. People think it's weird or stupid or superficial, but it works in lifting your general mood. It confuses your brain into thinking you are happy. Story 5. Making burgers, hot dogs, subs, and other sandwiches, breakfast sandwiches too, at home, then wrapping them in food wrapping paper, as the deli or takeout joint would do, then setting them down for 10 minutes before eating them. Edit to add the why. Wrapping sandwiches is often the last important step to get everything to come together, to marinate in a way, to have ingredients come to a cohesive temperature, soften, etc. When we struggle at home to duplicate a sandwich from a favorite joint, it's often missing this important step. Cheesesteaks, subs, burgers, dogs. Try it. Answer. I've often made copycat McDonald's sausage and egg McMuffins. They were always delicious and close to the real thing, but never quite right. One day I wrapped one for 10 minutes and then ate it. Absolutely doppelganger for the real thing. Told my wife super excitedly. She used to work in McDonald's. She knew they were not allowed to send a McMuffin out if it hadn't been sat wrapped for at least 45 seconds. Story 6. This is absolutely genius. I doubt I am anywhere near the first to do this, and I don't know if there's been any official research into this in regards to ADHD, but it works for me, so hopefully this is helpful. Pavlov's dog refers to a Russian physiologist who trained his dogs to salivate whenever they heard a bell because he rang a bell every time he fed them. A few months ago, I accidentally did the same to myself. Every Saturday, I clean my room and light a scented candle, sandalwood if you're wondering. Completely coincidentally, I also get takeout food on Saturdays. So now whenever I smell sandalwood, I crave orange chicken. It then occurred to me that I could intentionally start doing this to myself. So I found a cologne I like the smell of, but don't use, and I started spraying a copious amount of it every time I needed to study or do assignments for around a week. Now, I only need one spray, and I'm fully focused in work mode. It really works, at least for me. Hope this helps someone. Story 7. Ham radio. It a fun hobbies, but people today knock it as they think it pointless because of cell phones, without realizing the power ham radio has because it does not rely on infrastructure having to exist. Answer. I got my technician license in college. One of my instructors told us he would give 20 points of extra credit to anyone who got their license. I love it. There's so many cool people doing it. Unfortunately, I don't have that great a setup yet, and I live in a bit of a hole. I can listen in to multiple relays, but I can't hit them. My little rubber ducky antenna and 5W handset just ain't cutting it. Someday. Story 8. Cheez-Its in soup instead of crackers. Edit. It works for soup, chili, or pretty much any liquid-based meal. Chili cheese Fritos are a solid choice if Cheez-Its aren't available. I've never tried goldfish, but I expect similar results. Chunky soup and fat bastard chili are my go-to-work meals. I was not expecting this much of a response. You guys are great for validating my soup cracker choices. Story 9. A dash of strong black coffee in any chocolate cakes, cookies, brownies, frostings, or pastries. A dash of almond extract in any vanilla cakes, cookies, brownies, frostings, or pastries. I don't know why it works. I just know it works like a charm. Story 10. Sing. It feels good, increases your oxygen levels, can improve your lung and respiratory function, and all sorts of other wonderful things. Story 11. Green, Granny Smith, apples, and sharp cheddar cheese. Apparently, not many people had this growing up, but it'll always be one of my favorite snacks. Story 12. Get a cooling blanket. Thin, slippery as all get out, and when you spread it over you, it feels like it came out of the fridge. Story 13. Making your own salad dressing. If you're not stuck on super sweet mass-produced dressings, or if so, now's a good time to switch. It's way cheaper, and you can keep it for a while in a closed mason jar in the fridge. Story 14. Trading a social life for a healthy sleep schedule. I don't go out much. I don't party, but I actually look forward to going to sleep because I know I'm going to have a nice, restful, and refreshing night. Waking up naturally, without an alarm, is really, really nice, much less stressful. But I'm the kind of person who thinks that an event that starts after 7 p.m. is too late now. Story 15. If you have a female body part and feel a poop that's stuck at the edge and won't come out, you can just stick your thumb into your vag and push down. Then the poop falls out. Answer. Kinda similar mechanics, LMAO, but my husband did that to me once when a butt plug popped in a little too far. Flared based, but big jerk cheeks pushed it in. He was fingering me at the same time, so he just spun his finger to face down and pushed it back out. Thank God he didn't tell me until after because I for sure would have freaked out and probably sucked it in further. Story 16. Say, I love you in the mirror to yourself every morning until you completely buy it. Will change your entire life. Story 17. If you're doing a frustrating task and you feel your temper rise with your body temp, put a small fan nearby blowing on you to cool you off while you work. Increased body temperature is strongly linked to irritation and aggression. Literally cooling off will help keep you cool off. I am constantly doing annoying jobs in tight spaces like plumbing and electrical work and automotive jobs that are frustrating and stressful. If you're like me, you get real hot and sweaty and you feel that fudge Ford engineers mood kicking up. A breeze on the back of my neck literally solves it. Story 18. Pedicures. Not necessarily thought of as a thing guys do, but having a daughter, it is great bonding time and feels amazing afterwards. Story 19. Teach yourself to laugh when in pain. Your body just needs to make noise to alert others to danger. If you laugh, that still happens. But if you're ever attacked and start laughing when they expect you to scream, it scares them. Since fighting isn't working, they go into flight mode. Story 20. If your nose is absolutely congested to the point where you cannot breathe, take a muscle massager or a personal vibrator and put it on the bridge of your nose. The vibrations will stimulate the nerves in there, and it will make you sneeze the most blast-worthy sneeze you ever had. Clears you right up for maybe 5 minutes. Edit. Apparently this can do some damage, as explained by our laugh track suit down below. Answer. Okay, question for yous peeps. When you sneeze, does the rush of air actually go out of your nose? Mine gets jammed up and just smashes into the back of the roof of my mouth, or comes out of my mouth, but it doesn't get into my sinuses or out of my nose. Quite unsatisfying. The roof of my mouth is high, and my sinuses are shorter than average. I know from what doctors have said, and when playing sports it hurts, and I don't get enough air if I try to breathe through my nose. Story 21. Shower beer. Don't ask me to explain. Just take a cold can of beer into the shower next time. Thank me later. Disclaimer. Not recommended for people with an adult beverage addiction, and also not something you should do with every shower. Just a once-in-a-while treat. Story 22. Spread your jerk cheeks as you sit down to poop. It will just slide out and you barely have to wipe. But don't sit on the toilet too long like that. You'll get hemorrhoids. Story 23. Dill pickles and Cheetos puffs simultaneously are my fave snack. Curly fries with Nutella when I'm tipsy. Microwaving your scrambled eggs to get them the fluffiest, best scrambled eggs ever. Crack eggs into a bowl. Pour a tiny splash of milk into it. Whip the shoot out of them. The key is to whisk a lot of air into them too. And put in the microwave for 1 minute per egg. 1 egg, 1 minute, 2 eggs, 2 minutes, etc. And they will come out fluffy and delicious. Story 24. Set a 15-minute timer and start the thing you're avoiding. Momentum kicks in, and half the time you just keep going after the timer ends. Story 25. Putting chapstick on fresh TP just before your final wipe literally saved my jerk in the winter so many times. Story 26. Using a potato peeler instead of a knife for cutting cheese has really sped up my prep time. It's so simple, but effective. Story 27. Go skydiving. Just do it. I go once or twice a year for a tandem jump, and every time it is a treatment for depression and anxiety. It's 6 months of, yeah, that's small shoot, instead of, holy fudge, I have so much on my plate and I want to lay down and die. Complete reset mentally. It's like it fudge cleans you out. I compare it to taking a hot shower after playing in snow all day when it's over. For people wondering why I don't get licensed to skydive myself, 1. I like my money in my wallet. 2. I actually don't enjoy skydiving. I enjoy the effect it has after the skydive. Story 28. IDK if other people already do this. My family says it's weird. Putting mayo on a bacon, egg, and cheese bagel. Story 29. Eating a kiwi with the skin on. Significantly less effort to eat and is significantly more convenient. Story 30. Feta cheese and watermelon go surprisingly well together. Put them on a cracker and it's delicious, great summer snack. Story 31. Dance like nobody is watching to start your day, even if it's for 3 minutes. Put on a song that gets you moving and really get into it. It will change your mood and mindset. Story 32. You only live once. Put stuff in your butt. God gave men a O button in there for a reason. Get in there and press it till you feel like electric is running through your body. Story 33. Put normal popcorn kernels in a paper bag. Roll the bag close and put it in the microwave for about 3 minutes or until popping stops. It works the same as microwave popcorn products. Costs a lot less than actual microwave popcorn, at least where I'm from, and no mess to clean up after. Once popped, throw your seasoning in the bag, shake well, and enjoy. Story 34. Married guy here, sleeping in different bedrooms sometimes. Different sleeping patterns, loud sleepers, bedtimes, etc. Outdated concept that needs to change. Story 35. Sobriety. No carbs. Cook at home 90 of the time. Bidet. Wooden pellet cat litter. No spend days. A healthy amount of selfishness. Watch your life. Story 36. Air fryer. Hands down. Breakfast takes me 15 minutes. I throw a hash brown patty and sausage patty in the air fryer for 15 minutes. Jump in the shower, egg in the microwave for a minute, English muffin in the toaster, slice some cheese, and within 15 I'm done and ready to head out the door. Story 37. Fried pepperoni on top of your lasagna. It's not that wild, but my first reaction was absolutely not. You have to fry the pepperoni like bacon in a pan, then pour the grease and pepperoni on top of your lasagna when you're in the final cheese stages. It will make your tongue beat your fudge brains out. Story 38. If you're sleeping in a bed with someone, don't fight over the blankets. Use 2 twin sets that match. Story 39. Boiling eggs in the kettle. Pop them in, switch it on, forget about them for a bit, and then voila, boiled eggs. Story 40. Butter a slice of bread, then wrap it around a freshly cooked corn on the cob to coat the corn with the butter. Story 41. Think of a topic you've been wanting to talk about, but don't have someone to talk about it with. Maybe you're lonely. Maybe you've always wanted to talk about baseball, but your loved ones dislike baseball. Maybe you want to argue about politics, but don't want to fight with people. You get the gist. Hell, any topic. Now, when you're alone, talk about this topic. Maybe when you're driving, maybe in front of your phone's camera. Record it and privately upload it maybe. Maybe in the shower, it doesn't matter. Just make sure to talk about this topic as much as you've been wanting to, even if it takes you several minutes. I'm telling you, your brain will reward you and trick you into thinking you just told someone else about this topic. For instance, the other day, I've been wanting to rant about the way we decide the most valuable player award in various sports. So for about 10 minutes, while I was driving, I just started ranting and giving my opinions on how we should select MVPs. Story 42. A bidet. A bidet. A bidet. Not using toilet paper to scrape the holiest of holes will change so much. I now look at having to use toilet paper as having to use leaves. Story 43. Brush teeth gargle with 3-peroxide. No cavities. No plaque. Went to the dentist after 20 years of not going. I've got good news and I've got bad news. Good news is you did a good job caring for them teeth. Bad news is I'm going to be retired in 10 years. You're going to need to find another dentist for your next checkup. Story 44. Grounding outside every day. Hugging trees. Being connected to nature somehow. A lot of people ridicule it, but it's amazing and definitely enhances my ability to handle life. Story 45. A physical half smile as soon as you start to feel panic symptoms. My stomach is the first to tell me usually. Signals your brain that your body is safe and the symptoms subside enough to use other coping skills. Story 46. Cold showers. I know it sounds like torture, but you step in, your brain screams, and then 2 minutes later, you feel like you just chugged 3 cups of coffee without the jitters. It clears your head, wakes up your body, and even helps with stress. Plus, you hop out feeling like a superhero who just survived an ice storm. Story 47. Put a cheap bidet on your toilet. Coffee with a tiny pinch of salt eliminates bitterness and makes gas station sludge drinkable. Set a 20-minute timer and do the annoying task until it dings. Half the time, you just keep going because the hard part was starting freeze leftover sauce or broth in an ice cube tray. Future you gets perfect little flavor bombs. Brush your teeth right after dinner if you snack at night. Minty mouth flips the craving switch off. Airplane mode an hour before bed and charge your phone in another room. Sleep gets deeper like magic. Walk while you call people. Knock out steps, clear your head. Suddenly you're that person who actually takes walks. Keep a donation bag by the door. When you touch something you never use, toss it in. Clutter drops without a big clean. Learn basic box breathing when stress spikes. In 4, hold 4. Out 4, hold 4. Calms your nervous system faster than pep talks. Keep a small roll of painter's tape on your desk. Labels, lint, crumbs, quick fixes without gunk. Throw a towel in the dryer for 5 minutes before a shower on cold mornings. Instant spa feeling for pocket change. Microwave trick for leftovers. Make a hole in the middle like a donut and run it at half power. Heats even without the sad cold core. Story 48. 2 eggs with shell straight in the toaster oven for 20 on 420F, and I got perfect boiled eggs ready to savor. I do this for decades. Story 49. Rubber gloves when you eat something messy like wings or nachos. When you are done, just take them off and your hands are perfectly clean. Story 50. No matter what, I start every day with handfuls of cold water to my face, especially right in front of the ears and on my third eye is invigorating. I also do it to rinse out sleep from my eyes. Even if I shower in the morning, I have to do this. Answer. My day doesn't start until I rinse my face with cold water. Sucks in winter, but darn it feels good. I have really dry eyes, so the first thing I do after waking up is rinse my eyes with cold water. I may not wash my face for about half an hour, but this is a must. Then I put cold eye drops in. Now my eyeballs are awake. If I could take my eyeballs out and let them soak in ice water for half an hour every morning, I would. Story 51. Literally, don't knock it until you try it. Try new foods, stepping outside your comfort zone. The worst thing that can happen is you don't like it and spit it out, but you may find your new favorite dish this way. Story 52. Warning, this may be kind of disgusting, but for anyone having difficulty passing a bowel movement, try blowing your nose while completely relaxed while sitting on the toilet. This has worked wonders for me, almost too well. Happy shittin'. Story 53. Cook hot dogs in the microwave. Takes less than a minute and they taste so much better than any other method. My theory is that the microwave cooks them from inside out because there's so much water in them. And by doing that, it gets rid of the water. Way better than the grill or stovetop. Story 54. Raw oysters. You'll either really love it and we can bond about how great it is, or the look on your face will be priceless. And I'll always have that memory. Story 55. Went on a first date yesterday, and this man swore by pickleback shots being a don't knock it until you try it thing. LOL. Story 56. Wet the corner of a clean face cloth, twist it, and freeze it. Works great for teething babies to gnaw on. Story 57. If you're making steaks at home, throw them on a plate when you're done cooking them. Then put another plate over the top. Stick the whole thing in the microwave and leave it alone while you finish cooking whatever else you're making. It steams in its own juices and gets tender. People look at me weird when I stick the plates in the microwave, but it works really well. Story 58. Get stoned and eat a popsicle in the shower. IDKY, but it's nice. Eating cool and warm water on back feel good. Story 59. Walking into Walmart and want to grab a cart that doesn't have fudge-up wheels without trying out a bunch of different ones? Look for the cart that has the least amount of scuffs damage on the plastic blue corner bumpers. 910 times I get a good cart on the first try. Story 60. Put sriracha in your mac and cheese. I'm not a huge fan of sriracha, but it absolutely adds depth I didn't think mac and cheese needed. Diced bell peppers are another oddly satisfying addition. Story 61. Take a matchstick, lick it, and rub it on a splinter. The splinter will shoot right out every time. Something with the chemical reaction of saliva and sulfur of the match head. Story 62. This is less of a life hack and more a common thing for many people. But in the Western world, it's not really a thing, so here. When it's hot outside, most people would grab a cold water or a Coke on ice, and while that cools you down for a bit, your body will be like, shoot, it's getting cold. I need to heat up again. So instead, make yourself some tea, let it cool down to slightly above room temperature, about 35-40 C, and drink that. Because it has the same temperature as your body, you will neither produce more heat, nor will your body heat up like it would from a hot beverage. Also, on a similar note, if you sweat a lot and want something other than Gatorade, make ayran. You mix water, yogurt, and salt, optionally dried mint for taste, and drink that. I would recommend 1 part yogurt, 3-4 parts water, depending on how thick you want it. As for salt, start with a little and keep adding more until you like it. It can be tricky to find the sweet spot. Story 63. Leaving your phone outside the bedroom. You'll panic the first few times, then you'll see the panic was the problem. Story 64. Chips, cheese, and cooked pepperoni with hot honey in a single bowl. Fried pizza with doner kebab. Garlic pizza with chorizo and pepperoni. Chocolate with mild cheddar. You would think I'm a stoner. No, I'm just a bored uni student who made whatever I had work. Story 65. Ice cubes in a glass of milk. Just 3 or so to not water it down. Try it once, you'll never have it without ice again, especially if you're eating peanut butter or cookies cakes. Story 66. Guys taking stuff up the butt. The whole "it's gay" thing is silly. The prostate is there, and it feels amazing. Story 67. Public slow walking. It's like walking meditation. At the airport, slow walk. At a concert, slow walk. On vacation, slow walk. I keep off to the side, out of fast walkers' way. You also realize that your pace is often dictated by societal norms. So slow walking is saying, I do what I want to do to the world. Answer. My dog will be 12 next month, and she has slowed down. She's also the world's biggest sniffer, solving crimes wherever we go. I'm enjoying the slower pace. I'm literally stopping to smell the flowers. It's spring here, so everything has come alive. My pup is a border collie, so we still pick up the pace and go to the park for a runaround. But we two ladies are quite happy going out for wander and a sniff. But I also like to walk slower than the crowd while out and about. I dislike rushing. It makes me anxious. As long as I'm not that idiot in everyone's way, I like to take it slow. I'll get there. Story 68. Take mild or medium Kirkland cheddar in the heavy plastic cryovac and leave it unrefrigerated for 2 to 4 months. Warmer the weather, shorter the time. Then open, drain off the oil it has sweated, and you will have the most amazing, crumbly, sharp cheddar that tastes and looks like it cost 3x as much. Done it many times now. Story 69. Adding espresso powder to any brownie recipe, scratch-made or store-bought box, makes it 100x better. Start with 1 tablespoon of powder per batch and go up-down until you find your preferred sweet spot. Story 70. Use 2 towels after you shower. 1 towel to get the excess water off, 2nd to actually dry the crevices, etc. Total game changer if you live in a humid climate and you don't feel damp for the next half hour. Story 71. Grill pineapple slices, chop it up, mix in a box of Greek yogurt, and put it all in an ice cream maker to make delicious pineapple froyo at home. Story 72. Drive at the speed limit. Seriously, don't rush. You'll be safer. You'll spot dangers that perhaps you might not have previously. You'll arrive less stressed and probably be less stressed as you drive along. Story 73. Occasional water electrolyte only fasting in the 36-72 hour range. I was very skeptical. But darn, it did bring on the energy and mental clarity after making it thought that first day hunger pangs barrier. Not making it a lifestyle, but it felt better than I would have ever thought. Story 74. Sensor opening trash cans. My friend has the same model in her house, but with no sensor. I stand there waving at the thing like I'm the queen or something. Story 75. With comments about bidets, prostate play, and toilet paper here, I should add this. Nervite hair removal creams around your jerk. This must be done very carefully. Start with only leaving it on a minute or two. Then a week later, try again and increase by 1 minute until you are hair-free. You will feel much cleaner. Wiping is easier. The bidet gets every speck of poop, and prostate play requires less lube. Just don't leave that hair remover on too long. Story 76. Blacked out gas masks in BDSM noise-canceling headphones. Your sub is plunged into complete darkness, their face enveloped by a latex rubber mask. Their hearing to the outside world is substantially reduced, and you can choose what they hear. Clearly, this needs careful consideration with agreed consent and communication prior and during if it's too much sensory overload. The last time I did this, my sub was chained to the bed, legs pulled up with thigh restraints. She absolutely could not move. Didn't take long for her to be screaming through the mask. Orgasms sounded absolutely horrendous being filtered through the mask. She said it was an unbelievably powerful experience. Basically, her other senses went into overdrive, and she was howling through the mask as I strapped a magic wand to her private area. Apparently, the orgasms felt different, far more intimate, as she felt like she was screaming into the mask in complete darkness and not out loud. Couldn't hear herself subconsciously as music was playing into her ears. Story 77. I don't know how common this is, but chips, fries, with ice cream. Vanilla with chocolate or strawberry topping is the best for me. Story 78. The only proper way to enjoy popcorn is cooking it in your preferred oil. Mine is olive. On the stove in a big pot, then pouring some salt and fresh melted butter over it. Leave the microwave out of it. Story 79. Night shift work, it can delete so much stress from people's lives. Minimal to no micromanagement, no traffic coming or going, no gossip or drama at all. I pretty much listen to music YouTube the whole time. I barely even remember what my boss's voice sounds like, and you generally get paid more than doing the same job during the day. Story 80. Cheeto Puffs dipped in peanut butter. Fucking hell yeah, America. My grandpa used to eat it religiously. Always weirded me out. When he passed away, I decided to give it a try. My way of pouring one out for him since I don't drink. You know what? That old fudge was onto something there, man. Story 81. Leftover pizza that you're gonna toss in the oven, crust getting overly brittle. Run the crust under a low faucet for a second or two to dampen it. Reheat as normal. Crust will completely come back to life and be delicious. Story 82. Telling yourself positive thing first thing in the morning. When you wake up, you tell something positive to yourself. It creates good mood. Story 83. For guys, sitting to pee at nighttime. Don't turn on any lights. Stumble to the bathroom and sit. It all comes out beautifully and you stay asleep. Story 84. When I have to do any presenting, mingling, or just a lot of talking in general, I discovered that singing some songs beforehand helps find my voice easier. Story 85. Make everything through your day a challenge. Lift a little more. Take the stairs slightly faster to get your blood pumping. If you like fitness but dislike running, make yourself go running when it's raining outside. You are going to feel like it fudge sucks, but once you do it, you'll realize how much easier running is when it's not pouring rain on you. I use it to enforce healthy habits in my daily life and has helped in my growth and development over the years. Challenge yourself mentally and physically in all that you do. Even in small bursts, it will pay out, I promise. Story 86. Duke's mayo on grilled cheese sandwiches. The tang from the mayo with sharp cheddar cheese is perfection. Story 87. If you have multiple pills tablets to swallow, swallow them all at once rather than one at a time. They genuinely go down easier. Story 88. Clean glass and mirrors with newspaper. Spray Windex. Wipe with a sheet of newspaper. Ink on the paper is fine. No streaks or residue. Story 89. Men, if a person wants to fight you, immediately get naked and say, "Let's do this." The person will run. Story 90. Every morning when I wake up, I look in the mirror and say, "I'm beautiful," or "handsome," or something along those lines. It's really helped with my self-confidence. Story 91. Peanut butter and ham sandwich. Like lunch meat cooked ham. Soft bread. PB on both sides with ham in the middle. Story 92. For the drinkers in the sub, Calico Jack rum and Mountain Dew taste like cream soda. Address issues with people within 24 hours of it arising. Resentments ruin a lot of relationships. Hashing it out with someone builds them. Story 93. If you want to come super hard, just as you're getting there, stop breathing. I'm not kidding, it makes it feel like 12 times better. Continue breathing afterwards, though. Story 94. Mine may be controversial, but if you try DMT, you will not be scared of passing anymore. It changed my life for the better. Story 95. Stop microwaving on high. Be patient and microwave longer with a lower power level. You end up with warmed hot food eventually throughout your dish. No more hot cold spots. Story 96. Green grapes with a cube of Gouda cheese. Impossible to stop eating and make a cheap snack expensive, but tastier. Story 97. That cooking hack with salt in the pasta water really evens out flavors. It's a game changer for making my spaghetti perfect. Story 98. Dipping mini wheats into a cup of water as a snack. Without the water, they're too dry, and I'm not always in the mood for a whole bowl of cereal. The water softens the wheat just enough while still retaining a bit of crunch. Story 99. It's extra work, but toggle bolts for practically anything I hang in the house that doesn't align with studs. Decorative mirrors, large frame canvases or portraits, towel hand, towel toilet paper dispensers, wall organizers, floating shelves, etc. Over time, after weight and repeated use or push-pull pressure, the cheap plastic anchors or the drywall slowly give, and then you're dealing with stuff that rattles, hangs by a thread, or just doesn't sit tight and feels cheap. Anything hung with toggle bolts will outlast us all. Story 100. Teacher hack. Leave campus during your conference planning time to get coffee. You'll feel like a real adult. Story 101. Arnold Palmer's evil twin. Half diet Dr. Pepper and half diet lemonade. Reliably available at Chick-fil-A, but really any place that has both will usually make it for you, especially if you call it Arnold Palmer's evil twin. Story 102. To prevent your food from getting soggy in the microwave, place a cup of water next to your fries, pizza, burger, or whatever you're reheating. The steam helps keep things crispy and maintains the texture. Story 103. Using silicone lube for, like everything. It's great for hair flyaways. So many premium hair products' effective ingredient is silicone. Chub rub. I put a light layer on my inner thighs on hot, humid days, and things just slide right along. I also used it on my heels when I was getting a blister from some poorly chosen leather slip-on boat shoes I wore on a walk with a friend. I also use water-based lube as a moisturizer or chapstick type thing when I can't find one of the millions of tubes I lose in bags or pockets or my car. It's a lot of the same ingredients as anything else that you use for skincare and lip care. Story 104. Viagra for those with ED problems. I'm still relatively young, but I discovered I have trouble getting it up and maintaining a certain hardness during intimacy, though not sure if it's health-related or if it's just nerves. Either way, I tried a generic sildenafil and it works like a charm. Not only do I no longer have to worry if I could get it up, I also feel I have way more control over how long I could last before ejaculating. Story 105. Mainly for Aussies, but pancakes with Vegemite. Was horrified when a friend told me about this, but it is actually so much better than I thought. It hits that sweet, savory combo just right. Story 106. A. Stuff I don't know where to put file, folder, box, drawer. Depending on the kind of objects you're organizing. Story 107. Ice cream on toast. Sweet, cold, creamy meets hot, toasty, crunchy. Invented this when I was a poor uni student, and those were two foods left in the house. Story 108. Soda crackers on salad. You still get that carb crunch without having a big, awkward thing to try to stab into. Story 109. Taking an antacid before throwing up neutralizes the vomit so that it won't burn your throat. It also can help lessen the urge to throw up by calming the stomach. Story 110. Putting a tiny pinch of salt in your coffee. Sounds weird, but it actually smooths out the bitterness and makes it taste way better. Don't knock it till you try it. Story 111. Just bite into kiwis. Wash them first. You don't notice the skin after the initial bite. No need to cut it up and scoop it. Story 112. Potato chips are better fresh out of the freezer. For regular salted chips, it's pretty much the only way they're enjoyable for me. Story 113. Consistently taking a 60 to 90 second cold shower every single morning. Yes, I know. It sounds like a form of self-inflicted torture, especially when you're still half asleep. Your brain will scream at you. You'll shiver. It'll feel like an ice pick to the soul for the first 10 seconds. Story 114. If you have canned sodas that aren't cooled, wrap them in a wet paper towel, wring it out first, and put them in the fridge. Cools them significantly in 15-20 minutes. Story 115. Walking backwards on a treadmill with handrails. All of my foot pain, knee pain, and back pain disappeared once I started doing this. Just make sure there are handrails for your safety. The improvement was not subtle. It was dramatic. Story 116. Music can change your mood. It's obvious, but when you're in a bad mood, just turn on music that you like. Story 117. If you're making soup, braised meat, etc., and need good rich stock, you can add unflavored gelatin to the box stuff or better than bouillon, and it's at least 80 as good as homemade. Sometimes I just don't have time to boil a good stock for dinner, and I've done this for years to make exceptional soups and roasts. It's not one of those shortcuts that simply approximates the real thing either. When you boil bones and tough cuts of meat for a long time, you're breaking down collagen into gelatin, and that's what makes good stock so rich and luxurious. Adding gelatin is just skipping the slow breakdown process. Exact same end result. Story 118. Treat poison ivy as axle grease and scrub your entire body with Mechanics pumice soap. If you get it in the first 24 hours, you won't even itch. Story 119. Baking soda and Dawn dish soap to get out hard stains. I tried it once on pretty heavy ink stains on my work clothes. I let it sit for hours. It came right out. Story 120. Duct tape for your feet when you have blisters or rubbing from new shoes. I find this to be better than Band-Aids that fall off. Story 121. Jail is pretty nice. They feed you well and secure a roof over your head. Plus, everyone remembers your name. Story 122. Before going outside on a cold day, put your jacket in the dryer for a few minutes and then put it back on. That way, you're immediately nice and toasty as soon as you step outside. Story 123. If you're out of milk for box mac and cheese, switch it for sour cream. You will thank me later and possibly never use milk again. By the way, add some bacon bits and/or garlic salt if you like. Add some texture differential so it doesn't get repetitive for those college students. Story 124. Deodorant after shaving areas. You typically get razor bumps. Ever had razor bumps in your armpits? Likely not. Story 125. For the Brits, but everyone should try it. Put tuna mayo on a jacket potato with baked beans and cheese. The order is jacket potato, cheese, baked beans, more cheese, tuna mayo on top. It sounds mental, but it's legit so good. Flavor profile that I guarantee most people haven't had. I wouldn't be surprised if this is an instant downvote for most people. But the thread says, don't knock it till you try it, so give it a go before upvoting me. Story 126. Sometimes I like to play a cause hall game and derfed off in my own world and just sort my feelings out. Story 127. Wrapping a wet paper towel around a can and throw it in the freezer for 10-15 minutes. Cools down way faster than just the can in the freezer on its own. Story 128. Separate bedroom from the significant other. I snore, she snores. Not disrupting each other's sleep is amazing. Story 129. Mind you, you need to avoid the obvious bad examples with this. But if nerds or rednecks spend their weekends doing some specific hobby, it's probably a lot of fun. Dungeons and Dragons, driving four-wheelers around in the mud. If you can't let yourself have fun doing those things, you might be a bit too uptight. Story 130. Chia seeds 1 to 2 tablespoons mixed in with a cup of water. Wait for 30 minutes minimum. You will feel more energy, have more than enough fiber for the day, and get a ton of important nutrients. And it tastes kinda good too. Story 131. Your clothes do not need folded. You can just shove them in the drawer. Most of your clothes anyways. Answer. I don't feel like this is a hack. I think if you're okay with wrinkled clothes, you probably already know this hack. The real hack is to fold your clothes if you want to avoid wrinkled clothes. That being said, there's definitely weeks where I've left my dry clothes in the dryer and just turn it on for like 20 minutes while I'm getting ready in the morning to get out the wrinkles. Story 132. Brazilian waxes. I swear, it's not as bad as you think. While you're at it, throw a vajacial in there every now and then. Yes, that's a thing. Thank me later. Story 133. Bones, veggie peels, apple cores, foam meat trays, etc. Go in a Ziploc bag and freezer till garbage day. No stinky, no fruit flies. Story 134. Hell yeah! I am partial to scrambled eggs with cream cheese, dill, or chives, and some chopped up smoked salmon. It's heavenly on a bagel. Story 135. Okay, Serious bidet question. Does the water get sprayed around the room, even a little? Because that's all I can think about and it freaks me out. Sorry, I've never used one and I'm not against trying one. I just need to know I'm not going to contaminate my bathroom. Also, I'm a little clumsy, so if there is a way to do it wrong, it will be me. Story 136. Cheese on toast with a fried egg on top, mustard on one slice of bread, mayo on the other, ham in the middle. A huge craving while I was pregnant, honestly. It's never gone away since. Dipping McDonald's fries into their milkshakes MC flurries. Also, for any young women who might still be doing it, don't sleep with a bra on. Free them at night. It significantly improves sleep. Oh, also, if your intimacy life is unsatisfying with your partner, tell them what you like. Ask them what they like. If you can't talk about it, you probably shouldn't be doing it. Story 137. Instead of over-the-counter cough suppressants, use a spoonful of honey instead, or a shot of whiskey. Story 138. If you take a protein shake mix and add a little coffee concentrate, then add 3 times the amount of water, it will flavor your water, curb your appetite, enable you to skip breakfast and lunch, and last the majority of the day. Not to mention incredibly low calories. Story 139. I have a weird way to cure hiccups every single time. It requires something to drink, preferably carbonated. You drink some, but keep it at the back of your throat as you take a deep, chesty breath. Hold your breath while you count backwards from 100. After you get to about 90, swallow the drink and let your breath out. You might hiccup one more time, but then it's done. Best I can figure is that hiccups are partially mental, and partially your diaphragm needs to stretch and reset to a neutral position. So the liquid in your throat plus the breath stretches your diaphragm both inside and out. Whole the counting and complex instructions take your mind off the hiccups. This is why drinking upside down sometimes works as well, because you stretch weirdly to do it and have to hold your balance. But my way works just as well and doesn't require being upside down. Story 140. Add a splash of shredded sharp cheddar cheese to your instant ramen. It thickens it up just enough to make it a better eating experience and doesn't really mess with the flavor too much. It's the only way I eat it now. Story 141. Eat kiwis with the skin after washing. Seen it here once a while ago. Never going back, go peeling, scooping those fuckers again. Story 142. Just a drop or two of soy sauce and a teaspoon of brown sugar will make homemade whipped cream taste caramelized. Story 143. Pimento cheese and salami. When I worked at deli, I would spread a spoonful of cheese onto a slice of salami and roll it up as a quick snack. It's addictive. Story 144. When trying a food I don't really like or am not sure of, I put a reasonably sized piece in my mouth and just keep it there for a while. What are the flavors, and why would people like this? It's not poisonous. Other people are eating it. I'll give it a few more minutes. It's got me to be able to eat mushrooms, raw tomatoes, and pickles so far. Story 145. Microwave corn on the cob in the husk. Cut the stem end off and leave everything else as is. Microwave for 3 to 4 minutes. Using an oven mitt, it will be very hot. Squeeze the non-cut end, and the cob will slide right out with no hairs attached. You ready to butter and salt? Or, I love butter and Louisiana fish fry products, Cajun seasoning on my corn. Story 146. Roasted garlic. Throw a bag of peeled garlic in an oven pan lined with foil. Drizzle with olive oil and a little salt. Bake for a half hour, tossing once halfway through. What began as something that would burn through your upper GI tract is now a creamy, mellow, healthy snack. Just don't be surprised when it oozes out your pores and the wife sends you to sleep on the couch. Story 147. Loaf of sourdough from the grocery store. Olive oil, butter, toast in a pan. Salt it after, preferably with flaky salt. It's cheap and eat and delicious for a late night snack. Story 148. To reheat pre-cooked rice in the microwave, add a couple ice cubes to give it moisture. Keeps the rice from getting chewy. Story 149. There is a yoga video on YouTube for everything. Gas, headache, cold, etc. It's 10 minutes of gentle movement. Worst case, it doesn't help at all. Story 150. Using a fork to eat Oreos with milk. Stick tines into filling. Full submersion of cookie. No milk or cookie residue on your hand. Easy to eat. Story 151. Eating potato or corn chips with a fork. Don't stab them. Grab them between the fork teethings. Keeps your fingers clean. Story 152. You can microwave a scrambled egg. It only takes 1 minute. I can't talk about seasoning or anything fancy, but if you just want a scrambled egg for a sandwich or something, where the egg is filler, it's perfect and easier. Story 153. Toast and peanut butter, natural, and cheddar cheese. Has to be toast so the peanut butter is melty. Story 154. Stir a tablespoon of peanut butter into spaghetti sauce while it's simmering. It doesn't make it taste peanut buttery, but instead gives it a umami, savory richness, and thickens it up a bit. I particularly like it with penne pasta and some hot red chili flakes. Story 155. Macerated onion juice for a sore throat. I was once a disbeliever. I get the instinctive, visceral repulsion to the idea. It sounds disgusting and like it will hurt you far more than it could ever help. But I need you to trust me on this. A tablespoon of macerated onion juice when your throat is on fire will change your fudge life. Story 156. If you put too much salt in a dish, add a cut-up potato. It soaks up the salt. Coffee too bitter? Add a small pinch of salt. Story 157. Sniffing a rubbing adult beverage swab when I get nauseated. It's as effective as Zofran in managing nausea. Story 158. I've played Sims 4 over half a year now, and sometimes it doesn't like to start up. So I usually try to play Disney Xfinity first and then go into Sims 4 to see if it runs. And if it kicks me off, I continue playing Disney Xfinity till the game allows me to play Sims 4. Story 159. Putting your phone on the other side of the room at night. You actually fall asleep faster, and in the morning you have to get up to turn off the alarm. Story 160. To open a previously unopened jar with a tight lid, knock the edge of the lid firmly, yet carefully on something hard, like the counter or a head or something. Story 161. Using water instead of milk for Oreos. More specifically, bite off just a tiny bit of the cookie part to allow the water to permeate quickly into the cookie. A hack in itself, even if dunking in milk. Then run it under cold tap water for a few seconds and consume. Trial and error to find your desired moistness. Story 162. You want to know the secret to surviving air travel? After you get where you're going, take off your shoes and your socks, then walk around on the rug barefoot and make fists with your toes. I know, it sounds crazy. Trust me, I've been doing it for 9 years. Yes, sir, better than a shower and a hot cup of coffee. Story 163. Pour lemonade into popsicle molds to make homemade popsicles. Refill and replace right after you eat them. Story 164. Just move your legs faster to ride your bike faster. Not just in sprints, just have a higher 110 to 120 RPM cadence, forever, in all situations. Story 165. Corn on pizza. It will change your life. Also bidets and using organic oil to lubricate squeaky things inside the home. Stroller wheels, hinges, strike plates, doorknob latches. Story 166. Malibu and milk. If you're likely to be sick from drinking, Malibu and milk taste great and taste exactly the same coming back up again. Most pleasant tipsy spews I've ever done have involved Malibu and milk. Story 167. Taking a bath first thing in the morning wakes you up more than a coffee could, and a sense of accomplishment and productivity first thing in the morning. Story 168. Eating lots of fiber in the morning for breakfast. Overnight oats, chia seeds, Greek yogurt. Spectacular shoot. Story 169. Stop peeling ginger. The skin is so paper thin it won't make a lick of difference to the finished flavor or texture. Story 170. I read through this thread. PLT. Learn to cook. Start with easy things. Try your favorite food. Start with soups. Same goes for baking. Making pizza is extremely easy. You don't need many things for it. Omelette is easy, except the real French one. Burger patties are basically meat and salt. YouTube can teach anyone to cook, from zero to Gordon Ramsay in no time. Story 171. About a decade ago, I did too much hiking in too short a time and messed up the cartilage in my knee. It swelled up and I was in pain for a week. To ease the pain, I slept with a cushion between my legs. Have been doing it ever since. Try it. Story 172. Chinese prawn crackers with an Indian curry. Everyone thinks it's weird when I tell them about until they actually try it. Story 173. Everyone dislike mornings until you realize that the first 30 minutes can be just for you, with a cup of coffee and complete silence. Suddenly the day doesn't seem so bad. Story 174. A slice of cheddar cheese on top of hot apple pie. It sounds gross at first, but it's absolutely delicious. Story 175. Adding a pinch of salt to your coffee to neutralize bitterness. Your taste buds will thank you later. Story 176. If you don't like salad, put chili or a chunky viscous soup or a bean dip of some sort on a salad, a very leafy green one. It mixes your savory, minimizes dressing. You can still use cracker toppings, and usually there's likely some tomato in one of those items, so it pairs. I usually prefer to heat them before popping them on the salad. It's like a whole meal. I added my greens but disguised them. It also keeps acid reflux at bay if you want to eat these things but have slight GERD issues. Story 177. Well, just tried it out of sheer curiosity and wanting to use up what I have, from French toast sticks earlier, but Cheetos with maple syrup. Dang, that hits. Nothing even remotely disgusting or knocky about it, but wow, what a combo. Especially if you're a sweet, savory person. Dang, if Cheetos is doing this, I want a piece of the taste patent. Story 178. Go to the restaurant that looks a bit scummy but is full of people. It's usually cheap and delicious. Story 179. If you carry around emergency medication in blister packs, cover the back of it with a paper sticker that's easy to rip. You'll still be able to squeeze the pills out of the pack, but it will protect the pack from accidentally breaking or getting punctured and having your pills ruined. Story 180. Practicing facial expressions and vocal skills. You'll look like a sociopath, but it'll enhance your charisma, especially if you have a resting sad or angry face, or you show minimal facial expressions in conversation. Story 181. Set the toilet lid down before flushing. Toilet bloom is something you don't think about until you know about it. Try not to think about all the times your toothbrush has been sprinkled with toilet water. Story 182. Cream cheese on a hot dog or brat. S-tier topping. Add caramelized onion, Dijon mustard, and sauerkraut, and you get a Seattle dog, or customize with whatever toppings you prefer. The cream cheese is a game changer, though. Gives the same creamy richness that putting cheese on a hamburger does, but for a hot dog. Story 183. The Pomodoro Method. I always knew I should take breaks, but I felt like I had too much to do to have time to spend doing anything besides my to-do list. I finally gave it a try, and it actually works so great. I can get a lot done without burning myself out. Plus, it forces me to break tasks down into smaller chunks, so that's more manageable as well. Story 184. Large quantities of Benadryl. Never-ending spiders and devilish whispers from all angles. Give it a chance before criticizing. Geez, if you get lucky, there's a good possibility you'll get a visit from the infamous Hat Man. Fair warning though, Hat Man is also made up of spiders and scary voices. Tread lightly. To be honest, basically everything in Benadryl world is made up of spiders and haunting auditory hallucinations. It's basically the one attraction that sells people on partaking. Story 185. Movies alone. Been doing it for years and it's truly the best. My favorite theater shut down during COVID, but it had a bar and full restaurant service that I would frequent after work before my movie would start. It was the best place in the city, and I miss it very much. The AMC Regal experience just doesn't compare. Feels like I had to quit Bloomingdale's and am forced to shop at Walmart. Story 186. Be a tourist in your own city-town. i.e., explore new things where you are, with curiosity. Particularly helpful if you move to a new place, but applicable in any moderately sized place. Never know who you'll meet or what cool thing you'll find, even if you've lived there for years. Story 187. Put pasta in the water first. Put just enough water to cover it, then bring to a boil. It's made making pasta so much easier. Story 188. Peanut butter and pickle sandwich. Toast the bread and spread the PB. Good pickles usually cut into batons. Think like Thai food, often a peanut sauce and pickled veg. Top-tier snack. Story 189. Bring your big iced coffee or other very cold drink into the public bathroom with you. Dab some refreshing condensation off the container for a DIY wet wipe. Story 190. Crocs. I said you'll never see me in a pair. Now I've worn my first pair completely out and wear them the whole time I'm at home. Story 191. Butt stuff. Guy or girl, doesn't matter. Butt stuff feels good for most people, as long as you approach it with care. Imagine too much lube, then use twice that amount. Communicate. Stop when you're told to stop. Go slow till you're confident. Get all this right, and you open new doors for you and your partner. Now go forth and sodomize my pretties. Story 192. Skip the underwear. I haven't worn panties in 30 years. My husband tried it 15 years ago. He said he'd never go back. Story 193. Blackout curtains. Getting a properly dark room to sleep in is a game changer. You don't need to spend stupid money on them either. If you have blinds already, you can get regular curtain rod and rail and double up. Makes a huge difference. Answer. Plugging the brand room dividers under this comment. They make tracks you can hang from the ceiling and curtains that are the size of a whole wall. Saves so much to block my south-facing windows that cook all day in the Texas heat. Plus, it feels like sleeping in the gaping mouth of eternal passing when fully shuttered at night. The best investment for my own sanity. Story 194. Colored, smart lights. I assume they were a stupid novelties, the kind of thing I would expect to see in a college dorm or something, but not anything I would want. I can't believe how much I love colored lights. I work from home in a small office. I have an LED strip behind the monitors, one for the keyboard to light up, and 2 light bulbs above me, and it's amazing. I have less eye fatigue, fewer headaches, but more than that, I just really like being able to change it. Green is my favorite. Feels ridiculous to say, but I swear, I see better with green light. I really do get entirely different vibes from the colors. I'm not saying it's not all in my head, but they are fairly inexpensive, last forever, and let you do silly stuff like have the lights turn on 2 minutes before you show up, or make a button that your kid can hit that makes the lights flash so I can go up and help with his breakfast. I also bought more of the same lights and put them outside my house too. I can schedule them, which is fine, but it's also super easy holiday decorations. For Halloween, I turn them orange. For Christmas, they twinkle red, white, etc., etc. Even ignoring the color, I dislike having different temperature bulbs. Some of the lights in my living room were more yellow and others more blue. With smart bulbs, I can make them all match and every bulb is dimmable. And when I do bedtime stories with the kids, the bulb dims slowly over 20 minutes. Is that needed? Absolutely not. But do I like it? I do. Answer. Green light is the closest to the middle of the visible spectrum, so it appears to be brighter than other color lights at the same intensity. Red is at the lower end, so appears less bright, even at the same intensity. This is why I like red lights better. It's also better for seeing in the dark without ruining your night vision. So red is used for stargazing and dark rooms. Also, I love the idea of a timer on a light because my daughter insists on sleeping with the hallway light on, which shines under my door at the end of the hall. I always have to get out of bed to turn off the light after she falls asleep. Story 195. Weighted blanket. I was skeptical and thought it'd dislike how it felt, but now I cannot sleep without it. It's done a lot for my pain and anxiety. Story 196. Reconnect with your inner child. Give the little you a chance to do what you've always wanted, but never could. No one likes adult responsibilities, but it's especially depressing when you're forced into taking on those responsibilities while your inner child still needs healing. Go to the skate park, wear a fudge helmet, watch the kids show all your friends talked about, but you never got to watch, or the adult swim show that your parents were against. Learn that dance choreography that looked fun, but you were too self-conscious to be a part of. YouTube has a ton of tutorials. See how long you can jump rope. Learn how to do a cross jump. Go to the local pool and do weird tricks and jumps off the diving board. See how long you can hold your breath. Do front and back flips underwater. Go out to the desert. Seek out the lowest light pollution. Stargaze. Buy a cheap telescope. Use the Constellation Tracker app. Look up meteor shower events near you. Pick up a book about dinosaurs. Go to a craft store and just make something. Anything. Hang it on your wall or your door. Get really into occult fandom. Harry Potter, Star Wars, Supernatural, Doctor Who, Pokemon, Disney. Anything you can do to reconnect to your inner child. Hell, even if you need to wear a diaper and be swaddled and pampered to heal those abandonment wounds, it'll fudge help so much. Be the parent to yourself that you never had. Answer. I have an uncle who was intimacy abused as a child. In his therapy as an adult, his therapist encouraged him to listen to his inner child to help with healing. If that meant finding comfort in a stuffed animal, coloring in a coloring book, or eating some junk food he last had at age 15, it was encouraged. The point was to still do the work as a grown-up, but to also help heal the kid inside him that experienced the physical, emotional trauma, and at the time couldn't express his grief and fear and pain. That's why my uncle still keeps a small yarn knit bear in his home. That was the toy that young Steve, going through his grief, saw in a store and wanted to have. I teared up watching a video in Spanish of an elderly woman who was given a doll from her friends. She sobbed so hard while holding the doll, I knew she must have experienced some sort of trauma that the doll helped heal. Story 197. Euro-style board games like Settlers of Catan, Ticket to Ride, or Carcassonne. When I tell people I play board games like this, they automatically think they would dislike it. But give it one try, and most people enjoy them. The hardest part is actually getting someone to sit down and try one. Story 198. Private pictures, beaches. My wife and I were in Hawaii, and on our beach day we were warned that the only beach that was safe from extreme riptide that morning to afternoon was the private pictures beach. We deliberated for a long time, and finally we said, fudge it. After like 10 minutes of awkwardness, it started feeling really comfortable and freeing. Something about everyone just laying it out there with no judgment. Would do it again in an instant, but next time I'd bring more sunscreen for sure. Answer. I like private pictures beaches. I also went to this private pictures resort. It also had swinging, but it was honestly such a romantic, emotionally secure place. The reason being is because rather than wearing a string bikini where people could check you out left, right, and center, people actually looked at you, face, eyes, when you talked to one another. Communication was important. Empathy, bonding, oxytocin, etc. came so easily and natural to everyone. This was because the socialization of clothing and how it covered one's genitalia was no longer a requirement. You were simply human. Story 199. Taking walks for your mental health. They sound kind of boring and whatever when presented to you at first, but when you try it, you immediately feel your head clearing up, and it just feels good all around. A good mix of non-tiring exercise and fresh air with nature as well. Answer. My wife and I will take like 30-40-minute walks around our neighborhood on an almost nightly basis, weather permitting. Our kids are old enough that they can be left alone for that time, no worries. IDGAF about the extra steps exercise as far as my physical fitness is concerned. That 30 minutes for me and my wife to get on the same page and have uninterrupted one-on-one time is priceless. Story 200. Peeing outdoors. I live on top of a mountain. Every morning, half naked, I walk out and take a piss overlooking the water. There's no better feeling than a nice breeze flowing around your balls as you piss on nature. Story 201. Fried Spam sandwiches with toasted bread. Still can't do thick cuts, but a few thin slices pan-fried is actually pretty darn good. Story 202. Shaving your legs, pubic region, face, head, whatever you prefer to shave with hair conditioner instead of shaving foam or gel. I learned the trick from a stripper. I get almost no razor rash, rare nicks and cuts, almost no ingrown hairs, and an ex who shaved his head couldn't believe how soft it made his head and face. Doesn't require anything fancy. I buy the cheapest V5 or Suave conditioner and use a Gillette Mach 3 razor. Have been shaving with hair conditioner for over 15 years. Story 203. Pineapple on pizza. I used to talk so much trash about, but then I tried it. OMG, I've been in love since. Story 204. Tabletop RPGs. Fun for the whole family. I have a friend from my first group that plays with his family every week, just by asking them if they were interested. I recommend Dungeons & Dragons to start out. Story 205. Ate crickets at a Mexican place once. They were roasted in lime, garlic, olive oil, and salt. Found out later that they are almost purely protein. Story 206. Black pudding. Nobody wants to try it because of what it is, and they assume they'll dislike it. Everybody I know that's actually tried it loves it. Story 207. Biting into a kiwi like an apple. Rinse it first. I too thought Redditors were messing with people, trying to get them to do something gross. But I eat kiwis way more often now because they're so low effort and you barely notice the skin. It doesn't feel fluffy when you're chewing it. Story 208. For Americans, fries with mayonnaise instead of ketchup. Belgian fries with all the dipping sauces are so much better. Story 209. Pegging. Not even joking. Ridiculously attractive chicks are almost always down. It's been great for me. I'd recommend it. Story 210. Mosh pits. I used to think they were so weird and ridiculous and violent when I would see videos of people in them. But after going to my first moshing experience this summer, I can say there is nothing like it. The adrenaline pump it gives you is unlike anything I've ever experienced and makes the concert 1000x better. Story 211. Meditation. I thought it was some kind of hokey tree hugger mumbo jumbo at first, until I learned that all meditation requires is that you sit still and focus on your breathing. I love it now. It's amazing how energizing and calming it is. Story 212. Pickles on pizza. I was the same way. Gross, right? I've eaten pineapple on pizza, and it's still gross. Throw a pickle on your slice of pizza next time. Just one sliced pickle on your single slice and then make a decision. It's pretty good. Story 213. Video games. There's something for everybody. It doesn't matter what system, what age, what genre. There's always something that catches someone's eye, brings them back to an easier time, to when they are happier than now. Story 214. Banana and mayo sandwich. I've only ever met one person that wasn't my dad, and my kids now I'm passing down the family treat, who has eaten it. Story 215. Using a bidet. As an American, I get laughed every single time I talk about how amazing my bidet is. But you know what? Doesn't bother me at all. I know what I'm talking about as I have lived both lives, and I can tell you bidets are 100 better. Story 216. Gatorade, pink lemonade, Sprite, tastes like blue MTN. Also anime. I dislike anime, despised it, even until a couple of my buddies begged me to watch. Now I'm a bigger weeb than both of them combined. Haha. Story 217. Escargot. I tried it on a dare. It's honestly not that bad, and snails are gastropods, so they're related to clams and oysters anyway. Story 218. Grape jelly and scrambled eggs. You just dip the eggs into jelly. People think it sounds gross, but it's really good. Story 219. Seafood. I keep seeing people cringe when they see a plate that has something like shrimp or octopus on it, and almost every time it'll be someone that hasn't tried it because of how it looks. Story 220. Tongue scraping. And first it seems strange, but when you get used to it, the feeling left in your mouth is amazing. So clean. And it's hygienic too. Story 221. Sushi. Don't be afraid of raw fish. Just try it. Get your wasabi, your pickled ginger, some legitimately good soy sauce, and give it a go. It's life-changing. Story 222. If you struggle taking pills, take some food, and right when you're about to swallow, throw it in there, and voila. What pill? Story 223. Men getting pedicures. One of my old bosses told me years ago, shoot will change your life. I get one now every other month or so. Story 224. Gloves without fingertips. People think they make you look homeless and don't protect from the cold, but at temperatures above 8 Celsius, they're enough and feel much more comfortable than regular gloves. Plus, they let you use your phone, keys, grip stuff better without having to take them off. Story 225. Mixing crunchy things in fluffy rice. I pack a lunch to work every day, and I usually have rice in there. Don't like bread that much, and potatoes are best fresh. Carbs help you feel full, so rice it is. I ran out of wakame chizuki, a type of rice seasoning that has wakame seaweed and puffed rice, so I put on some of my cheddar popcorn on there. Another day, I put some Cheetos in there. Coworkers thought it was because I'm pregnant. No, I just like the texture. Story 226. If you have any sort of trauma in your past that feels stuck, EMDR therapy. It sounds like bullshit, but it absolutely works. That's it for this video. Don't forget to support Vancher and my second channel, Vanchus. See you soon.